Thank you, everybody, for gathering here tonight. I'm very blessed, very honored to be here with you all, to remember those that we lost. Leading up to tonight, I was trying to write a speech, trying to get something together. My girlfriend Jane, she'll tell you all about it. For me, it was kind of all over the place. I'm very particular in how I want to deliver what I want to say, and I figured the best way to go about it would be to just get up here and speak, just get up here and tell you, what life was like, what happened, and kind of where things are at now. I come from a big family. I'm one of 6 kids, 5 boys, 1 girl. My father Carl, my mama Louisa. They didn't have it easy by any means, with all of us running around. We're all close in age. It was, from at that time when my father passed, it was from 20 years old down to 7. So I have a twin brother, 2 younger brothers, 3 younger brothers, and a sister. I always make fun of my twin brother. I'm a minute older, so I get him every time with that. But we learned that you didn't need material things in life to be happy. My dad worked his tail off to see to it that we had everything we needed. Food on the table, a roof over our heads. My mother, same thing. She came here from Brazil as a young woman to find a better life, not only for herself, but for her family and everything like that. And that she did. Like I said, one of 6 kids, you're not always going to get what you want every Christmas, just in particular, I remember one Christmas I wanted a Tennessee Titans, my favorite football team as a kid. I wanted an Eddie George jersey, number 27, baby blue. And I remember Christmas Eve sneaking downstairs, peeling the wrapper, to what felt like a shirt to me. I saw the baby blue. I was so excited. Number 27, Eddie George. All my friends in school were going to be jealous, right? Come to find out the next day, it was number 26. It was a FUBU jersey, and there was nobody's name on the back. That's just how it was. I think I got a nice starter jacket and a couple pairs of socks, But we had enough. We had each other, and that's how it was. My dad always took time to be there for us with everything. I remember as a kid, he'd play music for us. My dad was very talented musically. He liked to play the clarinet, the guitar, the saxophone, piano, and those are things that were just, as a kid, you don't even appreciate in the moment. But when you look back, and those are like the best times of your life. You're sitting there with your family, your siblings, and you don't even realize those moments when you're in them. He would sit down, he would draw pictures with us, he would play games with us, he'd go out back, toss the football with us, he'd play basketball, he'd be in the pool, he'd take us to work, to the firehouse for Christmas parties, so all these things. And it was wonderful. I loved my family. I loved hanging with my dad. I was so proud. Not only the fact that he was a firefighter, but he was my dad. And he was present. He was in our lives. In my eyes, he could do no wrong. He's such a good man. He was a man. He lived 39 years. A young man. I'm 34. I'll be at his age in less than 5 years, and it's shocking to me how much he completed in his life. It's hard not to compare yourself to your father and the people that kind of got you here. And like I say, I said this the other day. I'm just proud to be his son, and to be part of his family. To be part of my own family, my brothers, my sister, my mother. I got a little emotional before I came up. I'll be honest with you guys. It didn't really hit me all day until right now. So. Just bear with me with everything, but I have a lot of great memories of my father from when I was a kid. Just being present. My beautiful and lovely girlfriend Jane here, she remembers my dad when we were in middle school. I want to say 6th grade. My dad would come to the school, and he would bring his firefighter stuff and teach us about fire safety. We would have like a little trailer with fake smoke, and then have the kids crawl through. And I was so proud because that was my dad. He was giving back, and when you're a kid, like, that's my dad. He's a firefighter, no big deal. He saves lives and kitty cats and all that. It was nice. And for me, again, I said this the other day. My dad was like Superman. My mom too. Nothing could break them. I only saw my father cry once. We were in church. I think it was right around Christmas, I want to say, and I saw a tear, coming down his face. I said, "Hey, Pop." And I used to call him Pop. "Hey, Pop, what's wrong?" And he just looked at me and smiled and said, "I'm okay." You know, and I still to this day think about that moment sometimes because that's really the only time I ever saw my dad upset. You know, he always had a brave face, always had a smile, always laughing, always joking. We were upstate at my mother's. Jane and I were watching home videos, and my dad was recording, you know, family events, family parties, and he always had a little quip, a little comment about somebody. And even though my dad's been out of my life for 21 years, Jane said to me, she's like, "You're more like your father than you know, with all the little jokes and the things that you say," and that made me feel nice, you know, because even though he hasn't been here, I feel like I get to know him a little bit more and more every day. You know, I learn new things. I meet a lot of his friends who, you know, had he been here, maybe I wouldn't get to know. You know, that day, 9/11, when I was a kid, I was 13 years old. My father was off. He worked for a friend. That's a common thing, you know, in any civil servant job. And he went in to work, and I didn't know this till recently, but him and my mother had spoke. The first plane had hit the tower. My dad called my mom as he normally does on his when he gets to work. He said, "Honey, I'm here." And then right then he saw the second plane hit the south tower, or hit the tower. He said, I gotta go down to the Trade Center. You know, honey, I'll call you later. I'll probably be down there all day. And he wasn't lying. You know, he said, "I love you" to her, and I'm happy for that. I'm happy that they at least said, "I love you." And that was the final words together. You know, as I said, I was 13. I was lost. I didn't know what to do. You know, I was the oldest at home, and my mom. It was tough on her to see her sad, to see her try to put on a brave face for us. You know, I'm very fortunate to have the fire department family, to have the friends and the people I've had in my life over the years to be there for us and just to listen to, just to kind of take you outside of yourself, because life gets hard, you know. And I remember a friend of mine, his father died of cancer. We were the same age, you know, 13, you know, and he's like, "Oh man, Carl, what happened? He was much worse." And I looked at him, I said, "No, it's not. Both our dads aren't here, man," you know. And that's how I looked at it, you know, like I for years it was tough to properly, you know, grieve and to be, you know, to feel what I wanted to feel, because I felt like I had to put on a face for other people, for, you know, the New York Post, for media, whatever. But over time, I realized that, you know, just being with my family, that's the happiest that I can be. That's where I can really be myself. And I'm blessed, truly, to have, like, Jane has been in my life for 27 years. You know, a lot of my friends that I have that are close, they've been in my life for a long time, and I've made many new friends along the way. There's many opportunities that I wouldn't be standing in front of all you fine people right now if it wasn't for my father. And yes, I'd give anything to have him here for another half an hour. But I try to change my perspective about everything in life. You know, I try to look at it through someone else's point of view. I had my dad for 13 years in my life, and I'm so lucky for that. I'm so lucky that a part of him is still with me to this day. As I said, I have a twin brother. He reminds me of my dad in a lot of ways too. He's very calm, he's very cool, very collected. He's always got an outside opinion that maybe you didn't think of if an issue comes up. My younger brother Matthew, him and my father shared the same love of the outdoors, hunting, working with your hands. And you know, my sister too, her and my dad, they're compassionate, always stopped and took time to listen to other people, to help somebody, give their shirt off their back. Mark, you know, he seeks out adventure, my youngest brother, just like my dad. You know, it's never a dull moment in his life. And of course, my mom. You know, my mom has nothing but wonderful stories about my father that I'm so fortunate to hear. You know, for a long time, I didn't want to hear him. I didn't want to hear him because it was too painful. I wasn't prepared. I wasn't ready. But now I can stand here and safely say that my father is alive and well, in all of his kids, and my mother definitely, in the stories, in the lives that he's touched. There's not a single person that has come up to me and talked to me about my father that has anything bad to say. You know, I think maybe he used to cheat in checkers or something, but you know, he was a good guy, and I got that to be proud of. You know, really. As I said, I'm lucky, and I do apologize for not coming prepared with a speech. I just figured this is, you know, this was best. This is what I felt was best, and For a long time, for many years, this would plague me. This one day in my life would plague me. And, I've been talking to people about it. And I realized that I'm not going to let one day ruin the rest of my life. I have a lot going on for myself. I have people in my family, people in my life that love me. I took on one of the greatest jobs in the world for me. I was always proud of the fact that my dad was a firefighter, taking me to work with him, always coming home happy with a smile on his face. Him and my mom were the best. They were great together. And, really, I never saw my dad angry. I think once my parents got in an argument, and I was so scared. I told my teacher in like 3rd grade or something, I said, I think my parents are going to get a divorce. And she called home, and my mom whooped me a little bit for sharing our business, So I learned a lesson there. I did. But yeah, yeah. What happens at home stays at home. But yeah, he was a great example of a lot of things. He was just very charismatic, very caring. I don't think I take enough time. I mean, maybe, everybody here has lost somebody, and it's easy to, to implode and to fall into your own thoughts and feelings. Woe is me, right? But I don't think enough of us take the time to truly appreciate what those people have really done for us. And that's more of where I'm at in life right now. And I'm not saying it's right, but it's right for me. I'm very happy. I'm very fortunate. I'm very lucky to have the father that I had. A big moment, a big pivotal moment in my life was when I turned 26. Because when I turned 26, that was 13 years without my father. I had him for 13. Now I was without him for 13. And that was a pivotal moment. I was afraid. I didn't know which way to go in life. Who was going to tell me if I was doing right, if I was doing wrong, And, I have a conscience, I know, yes, but everybody needs their father at some point. And I'm fortunate that I've always had him with me. He's not here physically, but when I pray, when I am having a rough moment, when I'm unsure, when I'm uncertain, that's who I talk to. That's who I look for guidance, And I'm fortunate. I'm really fortunate because when I think of him, it's really nothing but good things, It's painful, His birthday's next month, Thanksgiving, Christmas, but life goes on, I still have a big family. I have a beautiful niece, 2 nieces and a nephew. I have all my siblings still here, my mother, my lovely girlfriend as well, Jane. And, I can choose to be stuck in the past, stuck on that one day, or I can choose to change my perspective and be happy, be fortunate, be grateful. A lot of horrific things occurred that day. We lost a lot of people, yes, but a lot of valiant and courageous and heroic things happened that day too. There's a lot of people out there in the world that wouldn't be here if it wasn't for those people that gave up their lives to help other people. My dad was just a regular guy to me. He was my dad. For a long time, it took me a really long time to say, hey, my dad's a hero. Yeah, my dad's this. My dad was just my dad, and that's how I wanted to remember him. It's just my dad. I'm sure he didn't wake up to go to work that morning and say, my name's gonna be, in stone forever, this, that, He was just an ordinary guy doing an extraordinary thing, just as those other guys, men and women did that day too. And I'm proud of that because when I go to work, I know my dad's watching me. I want to come home. I do. God forbid if that doesn't happen. At least I know that, I gave it everything I had. But I couldn't be more proud, like I said, of my family, my dad, and where I come from. He's taught me many things. Each and every one of my siblings has as well. It's life has had its ups and downs, as I'm sure we're all accustomed to. But I truly couldn't be more happy than to be standing here right now and to have this opportunity to speak with all of you. I was a little nervous before I came up. I'm still a little nervous now. I'm not sure if you can tell. I'm sure I'm doing a pretty good job of hiding it. But, I wanted to come up and like I wrote a lot in my notebook that I have in the trailer, and I was like, how can I end with something like profound or like, that they're gonna remember me by? And then as I got closer and closer, I'm like, I don't have to do that. I came here to seek my heart. It's to speak my heart and tell my story. And you know, my life has been a roller coaster, you know, things. But at this very moment, I'm so blessed. I'm so happy to have lived the things that I've lived. You know, many of my experiences would have never have happened if my father, you know, had never given his life. And as I said, I would much rather have him. But you know, things happen for a reason, and he's always going to be with me. He's always going to be with my mom, my siblings as well. And I'm so proud every time I go to work and put on my jacket. I'm proud to have the last name Asaro. I'm so fortunate when someone comes up to me at work and says, "Hey, you're not related to Carl, are you?" You know, I said, "Yeah, I am." You know, we don't really look too much alike. If you guys will see the picture of my dad, he's very handsome, blue eyes, black hair, looks, you know, very strapping young Italian man. But he used to take me to the firehouse as a kid, and I had a little afro, and I'd be running in there and, you know, eating all the food and stuff, all the little cheese puffs they had. And the guys would be like, "Who are you?" I said, "Oh, that's my dad over there." My dad would be like, "I don't know that kid." You know? And so they kicked me out. They put me right in the street, you know? But I knew the code to get in, so I'd come right back in, and you know, they were like, "What do you do?" You know, it was funny. It was a funny thing, and you know, all those little moments. I look back, and I'm wearing this Grateful Dead pin because my dad was a big Grateful Dead fan. I got one for my little brother. It was the green dancing bear, if anyone's familiar with the Grateful Dead, and it reminded me. It's so silly and so like, it's so funny how such a small thing can remind you of a moment in your life that you never thought you'd ever remember, or you didn't think had any type of significance at all. So I got it specifically to come today. Remember, I got this pin. It came in a pack of 3. It came with one of the green bears, and instantly I thought of my mom was in Brazil in 2001. She took half the kids. My dad took the other half, my brother and I, but he had to wait because he had to work. We were in Whitestone. We were at like the supermarket or something. I remember getting Jolly Ranchers, and my dad took all the green apple ones. And for me, those are the worst flavor. And that's what that little pin reminded me of that his favorite flavor Jolly Rancher was the green apple. And in my head, I'm like, wow, that's still to this day, it's a mystery to me how he could like those. But what are you gonna do? You know, like I said, it's really, you know, it's not like it's just a memory that I have of my dad, and for a long time I struggled to have any good memories because of the you know, the tragic things that happened that day. But I remember that whole trip in Brazil. You know, that was the first time that I had left the country. That's the first time that I went down there with my whole family. As I said, that's where my mom's from, and that was the last time that I was going. You know, because that was August of 2001. School was about to start. And you know, I still remember that trip, and there's many times before it. I know I'm a little all over the place with this, but I did want to go back to that FUBU jersey that I got. For my birthday was in June the following year, so that was for Christmas. I got that nice FUBU jersey. The following June, for my birthday, I did get a nice Tennessee Titan jersey, Eddie George, number 27. It was red. I let it slide. But yeah, my dad had a way of making things happen, you know. Maybe not then, but later. And even you know, this is something that I've been kind of echoing the whole time. Even though he's not here, there's a lot in my life that has happened because of him. You know, a lot of good things that I attribute to him. This opportunity, for instance, you know, to have the head on my shoulders that I do, to have the perspective that I do, it's all because of him. And just to close what I've been saying here, I want to echo a little bit of the same sentiment that my sister did last year when she came to speak. She said that you're only truly gone when your name is mentioned for the last time. And if that's true, then, you know, my dad, the guys that he worked with and went on and passed with that day, they're going to live forever, you know, through all the stories, through all the memories, through all the photos, you know, all the memories that we have of them. You know, they were, you know, a lot of people like to, you know, your dad is a hero, your dad's this. For me, you know, he's my dad, he's always going to be my dad. You know, and that's how I choose to remember him. And for anyone that has lost anybody, it's however you decide to remember that person, you know, whatever brings you peace. You know, I choose for it not to bring me pain anymore, because I've despite the fact that I've having had my father for the past 21 years, I've had a pretty great life. And I attribute it to him, I attribute it to my mother, and all the people in my life that have just been there and, cared, stopped and listened, and I try to repay that any way that I can going forward, and by listening to people's stories, by offering an ear, when nobody feels like they have one, and just slowing down. I think a lot of us, especially myself, being from New York, I'm definitely guilty of this. You have a knack for rushing through life. You want to get to where you're going very quickly. I was in Florida recently, where I was on vacation with Jane, and people were so nice. They took the time to ask me how I was doing, and I'm like, yo, I just want coffee, please, hurry up. And in my head, I'm like, what am I doing? These people are so nice, and here so a lot of moments in life, even just getting a cup of coffee, I choose to take it as like a lesson. I was walking by, someone was having an argument on the phone. People don't change. That was the one thing I heard, and I was like, are you talking to me? And I took that. I don't know why I remember it, but I do, and I'm like, I'm gonna prove you wrong, sir. Even though I'm never gonna see you again. But yeah, I've learned a lot of things in life, and having gone through everything that I've gone through, it's only made me, I think, more receptive to learn new things, and that life goes on. No matter how you choose, life is going to go on with or without you. So you got to kind of roll with it. You got to adapt, and you got to kind of pick yourself up from time to time. It's not always easy. Today is a day where I expect to kind of feel bad, and I was fine all day until I came here. I'm not blaming any of you fine people, but the guy who preceded me, he got me. He unzipped me, and it's for a good reason. I'm fortunate. I'm blessed. I'm happy that I can still shed a tear for my dad. I really am. He was a great man. I really, truly wish that I could be with him again, and not just for me. I mean, I wish I could introduce him to all of you guys. He was funny. He was hilarious. He was, handsome. He was charming. He swooped my mom right off her Brazilian feet, man. I'll tell you. That's I choose to remember him in a lot of good ways because it's important for me. It's important for his grandchildren that he's never met. My niece, my little niece that's here from Brazil. I love to talk to her about my dad, her grandfather. And it's such a prideful thing. I can go on forever. I really can, but I think I'm going to choose to wrap it up right here because I think there's still a whole half of the ceremony left. But again, I just want to thank you all for having me here today. I definitely am grateful, and I'm very proud to be here and speak to you all. I'm proud every time I put on my uniform to be a part of the New York City Fire Department. I'm proud to be Carl Asaro Jr. So many things, I can go on forever, like I said, but I think now's a good time to kind of wrap it up. And I just want to thank you all. Thank you very much.